Hello, and welcome to my new classroom course, How to Survive Your First Year of Teaching. I do want to give a little bit of background information about myself before we move forward with the first step after you get your scores and after you pass your student teaching and all of that really fun stuff, right? To give a little bit of background about myself, my name is Mary. I am in my 4th year of teaching at a high school. I teach English. I'm also the drama club advisor. I teach drama class, and I also teach mythology class. When I thought about what I wanted to do to help other educators, I really wanted to help new teachers. I see new teachers come to this school all the time, and they seem so overwhelmed. And I think back to the time when I was a first-year teacher, and I know I was an actual mess. And I didn't really have a lot of people in my life that were also just starting out. I had a lot of great mentors within the school who helped me, but I really just sometimes wanted to commiserate with other first-year teachers. I created this course to help new teachers or budding educators to get the best out of their experience, to survive the daunting task of your first year of teaching, because let me tell you, it is a whole different beast, and also to help you see that it is not impossible. Oftentimes I hear a lot of jaded educators saying that it's useless, that being an educator or a teacher is a waste of time, and that the education system is so broken that we're not doing anything and we're not making a difference. And that's just truly not accurate. And I want to help you see that what you're doing is fulfilling, and what you're doing is shaping minds, and it is a worthwhile career. So, to get started, I want to talk about some things that you should do when you start to look for a job as an educator, and some tips and tricks along the way. The first thing that I would recommend is to get your documents in order. You want to make sure your resume is top-notch, it's organized, no typos, right? And you want to make sure that you have a nice cover letter. I used my professional intent letter from grad school as my cover letter, and I just made some tweaks, and that truly made all the difference. And again, I didn't have to write a whole new cover letter. I'm always saying work smarter, not harder. Don't reinvent the wheel if you've already got something that will work. All you got to do is cater it to the specific position and the specific school district that you're looking to join. Another tip that I would say is use online job boards. A lot of the times you'll see postings on Indeed and LinkedIn and K-12 JobSpot. I don't recommend you apply on those websites, and I'm sure that they will also say that in the description. You should always apply on the district's website. You should also start to think about if you want to work in public education or a charter school or a private school. There are pros and cons to both of these places. I work in a public school, and I really enjoy some of the perks in terms of rights. I have a union, I'm in the union, and the union has helped my butt several times already. So I always say go the public school route because of that. But if that is not your jam, or if you have other opportunities in front of you that are charter or private, absolutely go for it. A lot of the times you don't need a ton of experience to get hired at these places, and even though the pay might not always be competitive, you do get a really great community, and oftentimes the students are better behaved because their parents are paying a lot of money for them to go there. What I recommend specifically, though, is to go look at specific district websites. If you worked in a district and you really liked the way that it was, go on that district's website, see what job openings they have. If there aren't any job openings, message a supervisor or the principal and introduce yourself. I sent out several emails to districts of places that I wanted to work, just introducing myself, sending my cover letter and resume, letting them know that I was interested in a job in their district, and if there was something that opens up, I would absolutely be applying. Network with other teachers as well. When you're student teaching, you meet a ton of people, and sometimes you like them and sometimes you don't, but hopefully you have a positive experience with at least one teacher there that has experience. use them as a contact. Use them to vouch for you if you need an extra shout out when you're applying for jobs, especially in a district that you want to work in. When I was applying, I knew I wanted to work in a specific district, and I had a leave replacement position. And because I did well in the leave replacement position, I was able to email the principal, email a couple of my other teachers that helped me throughout that process, and they were able to vouch for me in the job application process. Another tip, start preparing for your interview. Interviews are going to look different depending on what you're applying for. Sometimes they'll have you do a mock lesson. Sometimes it's just a question and answer interview. The one thing you do need to know is that there will be several rounds of interviewing. My first interview was with the supervisor for the department I was applying for. The second interview was with the assistant superintendent. And then my final interview was with the superintendent. So you want to make sure that you are preparing accurately for those interviews because they can be really intimidating and daunting. The best way that I prepared for my interview, and I also have some experience in training for interviews, is that you want to talk about specific personal experiences that translate to being in the classroom. Even if you don't have a whole lot of experience to draw on, maybe you just student taught, maybe you just observed and you're an alternate route. Talk about how your skills now can translate to being in the classroom. How are you going to de-escalate conflict? How are you going to manage your classroom? How are you going to deal with stressors, right? You want to think about specific moments throughout your life within the last, I would say, 5 years that you can draw upon when they do ask you those questions about what makes you a good fit as a teacher. How are you going to manage your classroom, etc. Also know that getting a job as a teacher is a lot, and the application process is daunting. You need background checks, you need letters of recommendation. Start getting those now, so then when you do start to apply, it's not a mad dash to get all of those things together. Make sure your identification is up to date and in order, and make sure that you are ready to get fingerprinted and background checked into oblivion, because you will need to do that probably no matter where you apply. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Take a look at my next lesson, all about how do you get started once you get that job. Thank you so much, y'all.